Anna lived in an old but cozy house on the outskirts of a small town. Her life was calm and measured: work, friends, rare walks through picturesque streets, and evenings spent with a book or movie. Everything was going well until one night she began to hear strange noises. Rustling and faint creaks came from the bedroom window, breaking the night's silence. At first, Anna thought it was just the wind or random sounds of the old house. But when the sounds repeated for the third night, her heart started to race. Unable to bear it, she decided to see what was happening outside. Approaching the window, Anna cautiously looked out. What she saw made her blood run cold. Outside, a blood-covered figure stood, emerging from the house across the street. The figure noticed her, and its empty eyes met her gaze. It began moving towards her. In a panic, Anna rushed back and hid in the closet. Her heart pounded in her chest, and her breathing was shallow. She stayed there until morning, too afraid to move. When the first rays of sunlight broke through the curtains, she finally dared to come out. The night had turned into a nightmare, and every night afterward, she was haunted by terrible dreams. A few days later, she learned that her neighbor from across the street had disappeared. Anna knew it was connected to that dreadful evening. Fear gripped her mind. She began to notice that every night, a shadowy figure stood near her house, watching her from the darkness. One day, Anna realized she had to leave, and as soon as possible. The night before her departure, she stayed late at work. It was already late when she returned home. Quickly taking a shower, she went to bed, hoping the nightmare would soon end. But in the morning, when she opened her eyes, Anna saw a message written in something red on the ceiling: "Safe travels." Panic seized her. Since then, even after moving away from her hometown, she couldn't forget that message. Every time she approached a window, fear gripped her that she would see that same shadowy figure watching her from the darkness. Weeks turned into months, but the memories of that night haunted Anna. She moved to another city, hoping to leave the past behind. Her new home was modern, bright, and safe, but the nightmares continued to torment her. Anna often woke up in a cold sweat, afraid to open her eyes and see a message on the ceiling. One night, unable to sleep again, she heard a faint rustling outside her window. Fear paralyzed her, but she decided it was just her imagination playing tricks on her. However, the sounds repeated every night, becoming more distinct. Anna couldn't stand it anymore and decided to look out the window again. In the dim streetlight, she saw a shadow, resembling the same figure she had seen before. The figure stood and stared directly at her window. Panic overwhelmed her. She quickly drew the curtains and ran to the bedroom, locking the door. For the next few days, Anna lived in a constant state of fear. She felt someone was watching her, even during the day. She decided to see a psychotherapist, hoping professional help would help her cope with her fears. The therapist listened to her story, suggested various relaxation methods, and gave advice on how to manage anxiety, but no advice seemed to help. Anna continued to feel pursued by something sinister. She began avoiding windows, closing the curtains as soon as the sun set. But it didn't help, the sounds and shadows didn't go away. One night, Anna woke up to a loud knock on the door. Her heart pounded wildly. Who could come so late? She approached the door, trying not to make a sound, and looked through the peephole. No one was there. The knock repeated, and she recoiled. Someone was definitely outside the door. Gathering all her courage, Anna opened the door, but no one was there. Only the cold wind swept through the hallway. She closed the door and returned to her bedroom, but she couldn't sleep anymore. The next morning, Anna decided she couldn't live like this anymore. She called her parents, told them everything, and asked to stay with them for a while. Her parents, of course, agreed, worried about her condition. After moving in with her parents, Anna felt a bit calmer. The days passed quietly and peacefully, without strange sounds or shadows. But at night, she was still haunted by nightmares. A few weeks later, she decided it was time to return home and try to deal with her fears on her own. Returning to her house, she felt a slight unease but decided she needed to be strong. The first night she slept restlessly, but nothing strange happened. The second night she had nightmares again and woke up in a cold sweat. On the third night, she heard a faint rustling outside her window and froze. Anna decided not to give in to fear and approached the window. She saw a shadow, but this time she decided not to run or hide. Anna stepped out of the house and walked towards the shadow. As she got closer, the shadow dissolved into the air. Anna returned home, feeling her fears beginning to recede. Months passed, and Anna resumed her normal life. She no longer heard strange sounds or saw shadows outside her window. Her life returned to its usual course, but she would always remember those terrible nights and the message on the ceiling. Anna understood that her fears were products of her own mind, and she managed to overcome them, but sometimes, on particularly quiet nights, when the wind played with the curtains, it seemed to her that she could hear faint rustling outside the window again. And then she remembered the message on the ceiling and realized that the fears could return if she allowed them to take over her mind once more.